and welcome to Hope Worth Repeating, a weekly podcast segment of Behind the Mic podcasts with Mike Stone. My name is Amanda Valantine, not like the holiday, but with an A in the middle, and I am honored to hold this safe and sacred space with you every Thursday to share from a diverse group of authors and their works, quotes that I pray will bring you hope. Each week, I will provide you the link to the featured work and creator so you have the opportunity to dive deeper into hope worth repeating. If you find yourself in the middle of change, whether wanted or unwanted, and you feel a bit lost, or maybe very lost and confused, you're in the right place. If at the beginning of the new year you decided this was going to be the year for healing and self-care, but you're not sure where to start, you're in the right place. If you are feeling alone, which honestly, according to most polls, people are, I welcome you here. Take a nice deep breath. Roll your shoulders back a few times as I share hope worth repeating from my featured author, Dr. Henry Cloud, and his hope-filled book, Changes That Heal, 4 Practical Steps to a Happier, Healthier You. Dr. Henry Cloud is a psychologist who is also a New York Times bestseller for his books Boundaries, which you may have heard of, and he co-wrote with John Townsend, very well-known book. He also happens to be one of my favorite authors, speakers, and psychologist, and I love that he's a Christ follower. I first learned of Dr. Cloud during a severe depressive episode, actually my first severe depressive episode. I walked into a partial hospitalization facility, surrounded by people I didn't know, wondering if I would belong, and even more so if this was really going to work to alleviate my depression. I was desperate. I had tried everything. I had a 1-year-old baby at home, my firstborn, who I adored, that I was giving everything I had to take care of. I certainly was not doing a good job taking care of myself, and honestly didn't feel like I could. I had never been more sick. It was my very first encounter with major depression, anxiety, panic, and suicidal ideation. I was terrified. I was 23 years old. The first book I was handed was our featured book today, Changes That Heal, the text and the workbook. That was going to be the spiritual part of partial hospitalization. We had a spiritual session every morning to start the day. Keeping focus was very difficult then, and I don't remember a whole lot from that time, those 3 to 4 weeks. But one thing I'll never forget are the principles of Dr. Cloud's book. We talked about them every day, and they just built so perfectly on each other. I've used the principles one-on-one with many people. I've taught life recovery coaching groups surrounding this book and using reflection questions and answers. Why? Because I really believe what the message of this book is, and it's practical, it's scriptural, and it's real. It's reality. It meets you where you are, and it really gives you basic steps. I say basic, but they're huge steps to get to where you want to be as a happy and healthy person. The first quote I want to share with you from Dr. Cloud is in regards to what he calls redemptive time. The main premise of his book is that the combination of grace and truth over not just regular time, but redemptive time is an equation for healing. He says this, quote, "By trying to take the short route, we sometimes end up taking longer than we would have had we taken the long route in the first place. Whenever people want something now, they will often pay later. Spiritual and emotional growth takes time. Growth is not a competition or a speed race. I wonder if you remember the speed math tests that gave every elementary student a rush of adrenaline or panic, depending on how you look at it, and always rewarded the person who got done first, got the most right, basically the fastest and smartest in the class. We have been instilled with that ideal, the fastest and the smartest. We are a culture of speed and competition. Try driving on the freeway sometime, right? The fastest and most strategic person in our culture is the one who wins. Second place, we say, is the first loser. We still reward the fastest and most intelligent, and those who are slower and too weak to compete get stepped on and left behind. That's why I love Dr. Cloud's next quote. It says this, quote, "The Lord accepts us fully." Let that sink in. The Lord accepts us fully, knowing that we will need time and experience to work out our imperfections. Our failures do not surprise him. If they surprise us, it is only because we have too high an opinion of ourselves. We have a standing in grace that gives us freedom to achieve truth over time. There you see those words, grace, truth, and time again, which are a theme throughout the book. I love this quote so much because just the first 5 or 6 words, the Lord accepts us fully, knowing. He fully knows our imperfections. He fully knows our hurts. He fully knows our confusion. He accepts us fully. He fully accepts that sometimes we're the slowest and the weakest. That is one of the things that we can be grateful today for, even if we're struggling to find something to be grateful for, is that God accepts us fully, knowing who we are and knowing our imperfections. I'm so thankful that God accepts me when I'm not the fastest or strongest or smartest, when I come in second or third or 100th place. He accepts us with grace like a safety net so we can take the truth and use it to grow and heal over time. The Bible says he holds us together. Dr. Cloud goes on to talk about 4 practical steps to become the healthy adult you can be. You will love the way he does this and talks about these steps. You'll love the way he maps them out. For me, honestly, this book is a must-have in every library to have a reference whenever you feel stuck or need healing and hope. You will get the practical in this book, you'll get the spiritual in this book, and you'll also hear from a psychologist who truly understands the different things about the brain and about how people work. I'm so thankful Dr. Cloud wrote this book. It's meant so much to me, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. Thank you for listening today. This is a new podcast with the sole intent to spread hope in Jesus to everyone who listens. Please share and like or love so that Hope Worth Repeating can go everywhere God intends it to go. I would love to get to know you. So please dialogue with me in the comments, follow me on social media. I love to hear from our listeners. I would love to give you a couple reflection questions to get you started today. Am I feeling more hopeful after listening today, and why? Will I allow myself to be fully accepted by God, even though I know and He knows that I'm imperfect? And what will that look like? And who do I know that would benefit from this message today that I can share it with? I'd like to thank especially Mike Stone of Behind the Mic podcast for this opportunity every week and for spreading hope through his weekly Sunday podcasts, which you don't want to miss. I'll be back next week with a new author and book to share. Today's book and author are linked in the show notes, as well as how you can follow me and Behind the Mic on social media. I'd like to end today with a prayer. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and give you hope and peace and healing and redemptive time and grace. Bye for now, friends. I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll hold this space for you next week for some more hope worth repeating.